One of the particularly important features of our program is our professionalization and research seminar.
The goal of the Research and Professionalization Seminar is to help students succeed in the program and to help them succeed when they're through the program. There are two parts to the course. The first part looks at research and focuses on research. Their students work on preparing their proposal for their MRP and are helped and guided through that process in the class. Through readings, we go through a very extensive book looking at developing a literature review, through class discussions, through practice exercises, and with my feedback. So when students develop their proposal, I will meet with them individually. I will give them revisions, talk about what else they need to be doing, and they have a chance to revise that and redo it again so that by the time they're done the course, they have a research proposal that's ready to be defended in the spring term and allow them to begin their research immediately once they're done their classes. So they're ready to roll and they're ready to go. And that's really been a key part of our success in getting our students through in a year while doing some really impressive research as well. The second part of the course focuses on professionalization and professionalization into the discipline of sociology and as a professional sociologist outside of academia. So in that regard, we look at things like what it's like to be a graduate student and how that's different from being an undergraduate student, what academic culture is all about, and what sorts of things they can expect in this program, and if they go on to do a PhD or go on to look at academic jobs. I work with students on developing PhD proposals, scholarship proposals, writing research statements for those, which many students are actually doing in the fall term anyway. So this course gives them an opportunity to do that with feedback from their peers and with feedback from me. We look at the ins and outs of publishing in academia and the importance of publishing, talking about how to succeed in doing that. Students learn how to give conference presentations and are able to give a conference presentation to their fellow students in this class. We also look at career development outside of sociology. We have someone at Career Services come in and talk about graduate student or jobs for sociology graduates who have master's degrees, and talk about what some of their opportunities are, ways to apply, interview tips, all of those sorts of things. We talk about teaching. We talk about teaching almost right at the beginning of the course because students are TAing, and in this class they'll get additional information and additional practice in teaching.
One of the unique features of our MA program is that it is neither the usual sort of MA thesis degree, nor is it a coursework only option. Rather, it's a combination of coursework and what we call an MRP, that is, a major research paper. The major research paper is similar to a thesis, but it is, well, shorter for one thing, and secondly, it's a little more relaxed in terms of its requirements for original research. The MRP is the last bit of work that the students do in the program. They begin it in the summer term after all their other coursework is completed. Most students find this the most exciting and challenging and interesting portion of the entire degree program.
My research looked at the experiences of young low-income moms with child cognitive development advice. So I looked at what that advice, how it played out in their lives as young low-income moms. So I did interviews with these mothers at their place of residence, and I found that child cognitive development advice is something that's experienced by them as something prescriptive in their lives. It's not something they aspire to. It's something, in a way that middle-class moms may, it's something that is almost forced upon them as a means of obtaining social assistance as well as housing, and in some cases for maintaining custody of their children. So, and despite this repressive nature of child cognitive development advice, The mums never questioned their abilities as parents. They always knew they were good mums, whereas in other studies of middle-class mothers, this kind of advice caused them to question whether or not they were doing enough for their children. And this wasn't the case for these young, low-income mums.
If you're thinking about this and it seems a little daunting to you, well, I can tell you two things. First off, by the time you have completed your coursework, you will be much, much more prepared than you would be right now to start such a thing. We will be aiding you in figuring out what your topic might be. And that's the other major thing. All along, you are not alone. You will get lots of help, first from a supervisor, who's your primary guide through the process. Secondly, through a reader who is, as it were, your secondary help with respect to the process. But also all the faculty involved in our program are very accessible and amenable to being as helpful as possible as they can towards helping you on your way to completing this major research paper. I think you'd probably find, and most students that have taken the program have found it to be both fun and extremely interesting and valuable to their general intellectual development.
So I took actually a Master of Arts in Sociology because I think that knowing more about our environment and how the social organization is done, it can anchor me better in this society, and I can be professionally helpful for people, and most probably for myself too. I think that the program is amazing.
My supervisory experience was absolutely wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better match in terms of my research interests and Dr. Wall, who is my supervisor's research interests. She had done similar research, and so it intersected in a most perfect way. But what is most important to me isn't necessarily the expertise of the supervisor in my area of interest, but how well we work together as a team. And so I was lucky that I got both. I was looking for someone who was kind and patient and would work well with me, but I ended up having somebody who had those qualities as well as great expertise in my area. Something I think that is really important in a supervisor is having somebody who is as committed to your research in a supervisory capacity as much as you are in a researcher capacity. And I can say 110% that that's what I had, and I attribute my experience entirely almost to having Dr. Wall as my supervisor and having such guidance from the beginning. She put me on the right track in terms of my lit review, but also let me guide my own research, which was really important to me because I already had ideas for a few years before coming into the program. So I really appreciated her guidance, but also her just fostering my own ideas and sense of being the primary researcher.
I was really nervous about the research paper idea, and that I thought I might be like driven down a road that I didn't want to go, and I really wasn't. I was very happy with that.
This cohesiveness, I think, is something that you can only get in such a small department. There were only 7 of us the year that I did this program, and that was one of the reasons that I chose this program was the small number of students, and because of that, I think that this is something that I wouldn't want to go without. So that's a benefit of this program, having such a small number of students and such a supportive department behind us.
I think with a program of 7 people, I was really nervous about how we'd all get along because we'd be spending so much time together. And it was amazing. Like, we actually all became really good friends, and we were really good resources for each other. So I loved how small the program was. And I think I also really liked how small it was with the professors and how we were able to just give our opinions and our feedback to them and be on a different level with them than you are when you're in your undergrad.
After I completed my MA, I was able to obtain employment that was directly related to my research that I did that year. I'm working currently as the data analysis coordinator for the Early Years Center in Waterloo here. And my research particularly focused on the Ontario Early Years Center, and so it was actually quite a perfect match in terms of what I had done my specific research on and the employment that I did gain.
If you're a good student and enthusiastic about pursuing a sociological analysis of the world and its many problems, concerned with issues of social justice, and actually think that a one-year program would be the best postgraduate option for you, well, we would certainly like to hear from you.